Let's go. Let's do this. Let's get started. Thank you for joining and thank you for being in the marketing club. We are live. We are locked and loaded. We are ready to go. We're ready to talk about this information and really give each other a chance to really understand what we can do. So this is exciting because there's so many opportunities and we can build these opportunities over time when we think about where we're spending our time, our investment, and how we're connecting. So thanks for being here, Stacy. And I know other people are coming into the room. We just got this started. So I know that this is going to be one of those rooms that will give you a lot of insights and potentially also allow you to know how to take your business to the next level. So there are all kinds of things that we do, and we're going to make sure that these things are done correctly. So I can't wait for you to be here. So thanks for joining. I see you, Bianca. I'm going to tell you this real quick. I haven't seen you on the app. I've not seen you on the app. That was for you. Congratulations and thanks for joining. I'm glad that this has been a great time, and I'm really grateful for all the connections and all the things that we're able to do. So today we're going to jump into talk about something that's very specific, and this is out of topics that were raised earlier. And before I go any further, I see the room's getting bigger, so I want to say hello to you, D. Welcome, D. Thanks for being here. Shaletta, Letitia, Nicole, Swift, Shari, Leroy, Devesh, Ozzy, and Azamat, and also Serge just walked in. So thanks for being here, y'all. Appreciate you. The app just glitched. That was crazy. The app just kicked me out of the room. So I don't know why that happened. Yeah. So it is what it is, but I'm glad we're all here. So thanks for joining. And as you're listening, please click the link above. That link will take you to a page where you can leave your contact information, your first name, email. But more importantly, I want you to also let me know what type of workshops do you want to have? Because I'm actually planning some in-person workshops. I'm planning virtual workshops. I'm planning some things that will really involve a lot of us being here. Because Clubhouse is great, but I want you to learn something by looking at what you're learning at. If this is listening, it's about 5% acquisition. But if you can see my screen, if we can talk about it, if we can think through the topics, then it makes it easier for us to go by this. So if you want to learn more information about SEO workshops, Pinterest workshops, podcast workshops, AI workshops, advertising workshops, this is the place for you. And that link above will take you right there. And we do have one actually coming in October 1st. And you'll see that as soon as you sign up, you'll be able to be redirected to that page. So speaking of pages, I want you to know that when you have a page online, that page is a determining factor for the next action that you're going to take, right? Because when we deal with pages, we're dealing with different kinds of places we're in. So we're in a marketing club. So put in the chat, what pages do you create? Do you create video pages? Do you create you know real estate pages? Do you create DIY pages? What do you put? Just put in the chat, what kind of page do you create? What kind of content do you create that ends up on a page someone can see? I'd love to hear that from you, because there are three types of pages, and we're going to cover these three types in different ways. So by connecting the dots and giving you more insight, it's a really great way for you to really know exactly where you're going with your pages. Are they landing in the right place? Are they connecting with the right people? And are they being seen by the right people too? So this topic is going to give you insight, right? And that insight is going to be very connected, right? So I'm going to break this down right now, and then we're going to break it apart as we go. We're going to be here to the top of the hour. So a web page, if you think about the word web, right? The World Wide Web, WWW, right? The web, or the internet, for that's what we call it now. That's a place that information is held, right? That's a place information is processed. That's a place information is given. If you're looking for information right now, you're going to Google it or YouTube it or Pinterest it or Reddit it, right? You're going to, or TikTok it. You're going to search on the web that is going to give you more access to information that will help you make a decision about what you're searching for, right? So your page is a page that is driving attention, it's driving awareness, it's driving position, it's driving power, it's driving traffic. And that web page is one page. So you have one page on the website. That means you have, if you have ever seen a book with one page, a whole book with one page, that page is going to be very thin, right? Because that page doesn't, it's very, like it can literally go through, like a paper trail, right? It's very thin. So there's really not much you can use with that one page on your website, because that one page is a landing page. That's the last kind of page. It's a landing page. It's one page. You land in one place. When you land, when literally, I do this every time before the room ends, right? When you're landing on one place. Like, it's literally a surface. So when you land there, you get to your gate and you come out, right? If I land and I end up landing in different places, that's not landing. I don't even know what to call it. You're not landing anywhere. You're still thinking. So if you are landing on a page, that page has to have some type of information that's going to lead you to the next point of action, right? So when you have a web page is a page that can allow you to create content that includes text, audio, and video. You can put images, you can put text, you can put headings, you can put embedded code, you can put pictures, you can put videos, you can put documents, you can put GIFs, you can put all kinds of things there, right? Because that's going to make the page come alive. It's going to make the page feel more responsive. You're going to have more interactions. If you have a pop-up, that pop-up allows you to connect to that page because it's telling you, welcome to this page. How can we help you? How can we serve you better? Or take this quiz, or do this survey, or here's a quick questionnaire, or fill in the blank. Those things ultimately start to create attraction for you because you're creating a business that is allowing people to experience you firsthand. So when you have a web page, that web page should not just be one page. If you look at a book and that book has 1,000 pages, it's because that book has a lot of content. There's a lot of storytelling. There's a lot of linking. There's a lot of referencing. There's a lot of, there's glossaries in there, right? There are concepts in there. So when you're creating a page online, your page is going to be the one thing that is going to let more people learn about how you do business, right? Because that web page, not everyone's going to look at all your pages on your site, especially if you have a lot of pages. They're only going to go to one page that makes sense for them or to them, right? So when you go to that page is going to allow you to interact in a way that you're actually presenting. So if I come to your website and then I click on this link and it takes me to a web page, that web page specifically, right, is a page that has information. So if that information shows at the top of the page, here is a banner and here is a video. Those pages are attracting people to stay on those pages for longer. Because if I'm looking at the timestamp and I know that it's going to cost me, or it's going to take me 2 minutes to read this, then, and I know that this video is 5 minutes, then I may need to, give myself at least double of that, so that I know that maybe I need about 10, 15 minutes to really go through this properly out of my hour, because it's something I'm paying attention to. That's how you want to see it, and you want to connect as well. Welcome, Empress. So you want to see the result of your web page actually doing well online, right? And that page could end up being the one page that people are going to use to find and connect with you. So when you create web pages, you're creating a spider web. And then when you look at a spider web, what does a spider web have in common? They link to each other. it's a web. So it's linking. It wouldn't be a web if it's not connected, right? So if it's a web, then when you look at the actual spider web, the actual term of a web, the web is connected. So if a web is connected, then where is it connecting to and where is it connecting from? Just like an XLR cable, a jack, input, output, in and out, those things are specifically catering to the way the page is drawn or the way page is connected. So if you're looking at a spider web, then that spider web has connections from the center or that spider web to the top layer, right? So if I'm looking at my pages, are my pages connected? If somebody talks about this, is it connecting to that? Is it contextually and making sense? Right. So those are things that you have to think about, Austin, with the with the GIF. So it's a whole web surface, right? So and now there's web 2, there's web 3. Like, think about it, right? We're growing with pages. Our pages are getting more and more sophisticated. Our pages are maturing. Our pages are growing. So if we think about these pages correctly, then we can start thinking about the web better and looking at each page as an asset that contributes to the bottom line of the business and not just a website because it looks good on the homepage. Empress, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for joining. How are you? And happy Taco Tuesday.
Thank you. Happy Taco Tuesday to you too. I actually had a donut, not a taco, but I mean, it had something inside. I don't know. Anyway, uh, great topic today about web pages versus landing pages and social media pages. Yeah, I'm a big fan of utilizing, like, really getting a grasp on your landing pages and making sure they're linked up properly to your website. And I think it's really important to have that full funnel approach and making sure that you're directing customers to the information that they want, or that they're looking for, rather than just making them find it themselves. So, yeah, great topic today.
Thank you. Yeah, it's all about direction. Because if you're not directing somebody on a page, then you're gonna lose out so fast because the person looking for that information they don't have time to be waiting for you to respond back when you should have it all together before they appear or before they come to, your your service or your website. So you're right about that. Looking at web pages is something that most people don't see, right? And when you look at the web pages you're creating, they are allowing you to tell more about your business beyond what you can say on a phone call, right? If you call and ask, hey, can we get this done? Okay. There's a resource guide that allows us to get this done. So that even in itself is more so a way that allows you to feel like, okay, am I really connected to this information? Am I really understanding what this information is saying? And if I do understand what this information is saying, then this web page is actually meant for me. But most times when you have a web page, it's either the page is overwhelming or it's underwhelming. Have you thought about it before like this, Empress?
Yeah, I think that's something that people often forget about, like when they're writing a social post or an email blast or something. They just kind of send them to like their website's like homepage, and then kind of leave it to the customer to figure it out from there. Where I think that's often not necessarily the best experience for the customer, where it's like, we were just talking about this, just show me this. I don't want, like, let's pretend you see an ad for shampoo and it's from L'Oreal, but they're showing you, like, I don't know, a purple shampoo because it's good for brassy hair. And you click their link and it takes you to L'Oreal's homepage. And then you're like, oh, okay, am I looking for skincare? Am I looking for makeup? Am I looking for hair care? Whatever else they sell. Okay, now what was it called again? What did it look like? Like, it's just such a long, tedious experience for that customer that was interested in a specific item. So, to me, it's really about making sure that you're directing people to what you're talking about, in your promotions.
I love that. Yeah, 100%. And I think when people get to see the clarity in your message, they also feel comfortable, wanting to work with you, wanting to connect with you because you have a clear, defined structure, and it's allowing people to find your pages faster. And that also gives people confidence in what you believe in as a brand. So it connects people to giving them more insight about what you can possibly do over time. So I love that. I really love that. Social media pages is another thing. It's another thing. Oh, I saw that, Skylar. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Love, thanks for being here as well. You know, social media pages is a big, big, big thing, right? It's a big thing because when you have a social media page, that is called social currency, right? No problem. Social currency, because your social currency is determined by your social interactions. Literally, if I don't show up all year, how am I socially interacting? Even if I'm not online, at least my information or my topics or my business or what I do should be talked about online. I don't have to be online to be talked about online if I have a brand online. So the social media pages that you're creating should be standing out to people and allowing them to take information and actually wanting to work with you because you have something to prove. You have a community. If you just have one follower per account, they're not really going to even call you or email you or connect with you, right? I told you all about the story yesterday with the company. I got an email today from them, and it was really good that they really pretty much like we've established a good relationship, and they really kind of said in a way like, hey, we're coming back to tell you more about what we have, and we're gonna give you more information on offers that are available. So I'm like, oh, thank you, because I didn't have to reach out to them, but they found me on LinkedIn. So I know they definitely checked the company profile, because if there was no company profile and I was just talking SEO and I'm talking about having a business and there's no, structure socially to back that up, then that would be a problem. Most people go to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. They go to those platforms to establish their social media presence, which is great. But LinkedIn is one of the best things you can ever do for your business. Actually, if you go to the boardroom, right? If you go to Instagram and you go to boardroom, everyone can go to that platform, go to Instagram, and then in your free time, because I don't know what you guys are doing right now, but if you have free time, go to Instagram and type in boardroom. When you go to boardroom, right, scroll down. I'm sure by the time you're hearing this, it might be a little bit, later, but if you do it soon enough, at least this week, and because they post on a daily basis, so you don't want to scroll down too far. But right now, they are on the one, two, three, four, five, six, on the sixth row after the pinned row, 5 rows down after that, you're gonna see that. And I'm actually gonna put the link because I know it might be like, favorite, why are you telling us to do this? It's too far. All right, here you go. Put the link in the chat. So that link in the chat is gonna take you directly to the LinkedIn information that I'm referring to, because if you see that post on boardroom, they did a study. They said, and this is Inc magazine did a study, right? We know Inc magazine, they did a study, and they said Inc magazine's annual CEO survey found that LinkedIn is the most important social media platform to more than half of those asked, and the people that were asking were CEOs. So 58.5% pretty much, let me put it this way: LinkedIn is at 58.5%, Facebook is at 18.3%, Instagram is at 12.8%, YouTube is at 3.2%, TikTok is at 1.3%, X is on 0.6%, none is on 5%. So when you do the math and you add this up, and you also want to see what's really the major factor, what's the major driving force, then you get to see that LinkedIn is really at the top. And if you have good LinkedIn presence, good LinkedIn company profiling, good, this is, I'm not talking about search engines. That's why Google is not there. YouTube is not there. So I mean, YouTube is there, but it's not. It's considered a social media, not a search engine. And Pinterest is not there either. So when I don't see Google and I don't see Pinterest, then I know that YouTube is in the bucket of social media, but it's actually an organic platform because YouTube is second highest searched platform after Google, right? And Google owns YouTube. So it just makes sense. But when it comes to social media, that's why they're talking about social media pages, because a YouTube page is a link. If I put a link here in the chat, I'm going to send you that YouTube link. You might watch that link, you might not watch it, you might save it, you might forward it, you might not even care, right? Because I don't know if I should watch that video if it's important to me. But if you want to watch something really important, you're going to turn on that video and go to YouTube and watch that music video, or you're going to watch that documentary, or you're going to watch that story, or you're going to watch that meme, or whatever you're watching. You're seeing it through a visual lens, right? So that social media page is what is contributing to the bottom line of your business. That's why I treat LinkedIn. I'm so excited about LinkedIn and where it's going now, right? I just hit 9.9K literally this morning, and my goal was to hit 10K by the end of the year. And I was stuck at 6K in January. So just looking at it, I'm like, wow. And now companies are calling me to pick my brain, to pay me for my talk time, to schedule meetings, to, do partnerships now. It's crazy. And I'm talking here for free. That's why when I'm talking here, it may look like, it's free, but it's time I'm investing because I know someone's going to listen to it. They're going to learn something. Someone's going to have a light bulb, and that light bulb might turn from literally from that to that. And the time it's going to take between those two depends on how structured you are. You might take a month to structure, it might take 3 months, it might take six. But when you start building a house, when you know that the house has a good foundation, then you don't have to worry about how long it's taking, because once it's done, you don't have to go back to the root, or you don't have to go back to the soil. So thinking about those things, LinkedIn is a great place to be. That's why I'm thinking about those terms too. Empress, what would you say about LinkedIn if you look at that boardroom, post, according to even other social media pages that they're competing with?
I mean, the first thing I was going to ask was, how does Clubhouse rank? But sorry, I'm in a bit of a shithead mood today. Um, yeah, I think when it comes to LinkedIn, I think the main reason why CEOs look at that first is because that's your professional presence. Where a lot of times when it comes to some of the other social media platforms, you're usually posting a lot more personal things like your family photos, going out with friends, maybe shopping or food pics. You don't really post those type of things on LinkedIn, which is why I think um, CEOs in particular are interested in what you have to say there. Not to say the other platforms you can also have dedicated to business content, but I think it gets intertwined with some of the more personal aspects. And having that LinkedIn presence and keeping it all professional uh, just makes it a lot simpler and easier for people to really understand and get to know your business and what you stand for, and the ability to spread your knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. That last part you said, spreading knowledge, is so true. Because you can write something that's one line and you get 100 likes. You wonder what happened. Did I break the internet? No, you're just speaking your mind, but the people who are receiving it are resonating with it. Because sometimes we're like, why are we not getting likes? It's because they're not resonating. If everybody's clapping, it's because everybody's agreeing, or everybody's having a standing ovation, or there's some type of thing that you should do this for, right? It just makes sense. But if no one is doing it, and you're literally scrolling your page 3 hours later, this happens, then you need to look at why. It could be the color, it could be the font, it could be the style, it could be the message, it could be the hook, it could be the script, it could be the audience, it could even be the time. It could be the day of the week. Like, it sounds like a lot of factors, but when you really know your audience, when you show up, they'll show up. If they don't show up, then they're not your audience. That's really the major thing to look out for, because sometimes we're trying to find an audience when the audience is literally looking at us. It's like trying to figure out, is it raining? You can see rain, but you're looking for rain beyond the clouds. It's weird because you have to see the picture for what it is and then ask yourself if that's the same page you're going to send someone to. Because you can be on YouTube, you can have YouTube videos, but even if you have a million subscribers, those million people are not going to go through all your videos unless they're super, super, super fans. Then that's probably a 0.01%. But I'm talking about the majority. Not everyone's going to do that. They're probably going to subscribe because they liked one video, or they saw one short, or they liked one community post, or you did one poll. It's always one thing. That's why when you look at your social media pages, ask yourself, what are you building on those social media pages? If I have a post on LinkedIn, but that post doesn't live on Facebook, then that means I'm on two different platforms for the same one piece of information, right? So if I'm on Threads, and then tomorrow I'm on TikTok, and then the next day I'm on Instagram, then the following day I'm on Pinterest, those platforms that you're using to upload those documents, those audio files, those video files, those graphics, they've never surfaced on the web in that capacity within that domain. Because when you're uploading content, you're uploading it to a domain. Like, let me put it this way. If you fit in like a floppy disk into a slot machine, it's gonna go in, right? It's gonna sound like, okay, this fit in. But if you're trying to fit in the same slot machine, right? And that slot machine has probably, like, let's say it's thinner by like maybe 0.5%. That floppy disk is not going to fit because the edges are not, they're not giving space for it to get in. So why am I using that example? Because when you look at a social media page, right, you're trying to squeeze one link or one message or one photo, one video into a huge timeline that has thousands and millions of videos and photos and content like yours. So what's going to make yours stand out? What's really going to make yours stand out is your social media page needs to look great by attracting the person that's listening to you or giving you their attention in the first 3 seconds. Because those first 3 seconds will determine whether they're going to stay or not. And how can you determine that? Asking them a question, right? If they say calling all entrepreneurs, or are you an entrepreneur? Then the ones who are not gonna watch. They're gonna probably swipe away, right? That's probably the 97% of the people who see it, right? The 3% who see it are the ones who you're talking to. And then the ones you're talking to, you get to know exactly what they want. Because sometimes we look at data and we're like, what are we doing with this page? Because every page you have on a website has data supporting it. So if you have 10 pages, those 10 pages have 10 different impressions. They have 10 different audiences. They have 10 different queries. They have 10 different texts, right? They have 10 different links. So there are 10 individual links that are hosted on one domain. So if you have a domain and you're putting out your stuff on Instagram.com, which is a domain, you're putting it on TikTok.com, which is a domain, you're putting it on Facebook.com, LinkedIn.com, these are domains. So when you create an article or a newsletter on LinkedIn, and it's, let's say, a 2,000 word article, let's actually divide it. It's an 1,000 word article. Instead of putting the whole 1,000 words and giving LinkedIn real estate of your content, you'd rather divide that into quarters, right? And say, okay, I'm talking about this 1,000 word article and it's a lot for someone to digest, right? So let me give them 250, and if they want to read the full thing, they can click on the link to read more. They can click there, and that will take them to your website to read more. The next day, you come with another article, newsletter on the same topic, but covering a different subtopic. Now you're giving them chunks. It's like feeding a baby. You don't feed a baby a whole turkey, right? You feed a baby like a little strip, a little piece. Like, even if they have teeth, they can eat it, right? You see the picture on the face, like, no, you can't do that. So when you're feeding the algorithm with bits. Treat it like a baby. Like the baby doesn't know what you're about to feed it. So when you feed it, if the baby likes it, like, it tastes good, or nah, I don't like it. Right? So when you feed it and you start realizing your pages are gathering impressions, you get to see, okay, this one has 100 impressions, this one has 500 impressions, this one has 34 impressions. So that tells you the 500 and the 100 is what people want. Then you go to the 500 and then you do it again. You go more contextually. Okay, what about this? Do they like? Is it the style? Is it what I said? Is it a story? Okay, do I have any more stories I can tell about the same topic? What can I say differently that I didn't say before? So that allows you to now socialize because it's a media page, it's social. Web page is for search engines. Social media page is for social gatherings. You don't hang out on Google. You don't hang out on YouTube. You don't hang out on Pinterest, right? You don't hang out on Yahoo. You don't hang out on Chamber of Commerce. You list there. You stay there. You rent property there. You acquire. You claim property. You own real estate. You have a market share. You have a link. You have a page. You have a web page. So when somebody connects your web page, they're connecting your website. And why I'm even saying this today is because I'm planning to do this actively, and I feel like I'm so behind. But I think there's a reason why I did this on purpose. Yeah, I'm about to say something you guys are probably not expecting. So this is what I'm going to start doing, right? This is what I'm going to start doing. So the pages that I've created, because Clubhouse is a page, right? What we're in right now is a page on our phones. So all the replays on Clubhouse that are still here as replays, I'm going to this is me documenting it, guys. I'm going to take I'll probably do it week by week because I've been doing a lot of them day by day. So I'm going to take, let's say, last week's batch of replays, and I'm going to create a page, right? A web page that's going to lead people to the social page. Follow me. I'm going to create like marketing club because I typed on Google today. I was like marketing clubhouse club. I'm like, why am I seeing old articles of 2021, 2022, and yet we're here in 2024 doing daily rooms? Nah, y'all got to know what's going on in here. So that's going to allow me to now trickle into marketing club rooms. Right. And those rooms that I've done as replays here are now going to end up on Google because when you hit a clubhouse link on Google, it takes you right into the app. So if there's a replay and it's on the web, why not? I remember asking somebody that works at Clubhouse, why don't you guys I didn't even want to go too deep into it. Like, why can't we own site maps, our rooms, our profiles? We can, all these things. I was like, I don't want to go too deep into it because that's none of my business. But what I can do is make sure that I'm here contributing, connecting with people on the app, leading them where they need to go. And if I can write an article on a website, and that website has a link to a clubhouse room, and that clubhouse room is available for replay, then more people can listen to it, and that allows more people to join the app. There's still 10 million people. Like this app right now is huge. It's like Clubhouse just literally drew the curtains back in because now there are so many rooms you can explore. Everybody's in here. So it's not like people left. It's just that we're kind of, I'll call it deserted. Like we had our own little island and then we're now back on the shore. So that's what I'm planning to do. And that's going to allow me to create more web pages for social media pages because all these replays on Clubhouse, I do have probably more than 100 replays. I've been doing this since 2021 and I joined Clubhouse 2020. So imagine just picking out the ones that are relevant for 2024 and maybe doing my top 100 Clubhouse room list, for example. That in itself will be like, wow, that's a money page because now literally everything in there you can dive in, you can do what you want. And it's a page, it's a web page, and it lands you into a social media page or a social audio page. So I'm just telling you what I'm doing so that when you do it yourself too, when you're on Clubhouse making these rooms, think outside the box because you don't want to leave a replay in this place forever when people could be outside coming in and now they can connecting with you deeper. And then at the top of the room, you have your links, you have connections. It makes sense. It's happened to me before. When I was in Atlanta, somebody found me through a replay and she's a really good friend of mine now. And literally she's like, I was like, how did you find me? She's like, oh, I listened to your replay you did like 2 months ago and I saw your booking link and like schedule with you. I was like, what? And I was thinking, I was contemplating of deleting my replays. At some point, I was going literally no replays because I was tired of people just regurgitating content and just making a whole mess. So I was like, let me save you all this stress and not even put a replay on. But for someone to tell me that, I said, nah, that means I'll be doing a disservice if I, drop it and then let more people connect with me outside the app. So that's what I'm doing now, guys. Go ahead, Empress. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic too, on that insight as well.
Yeah, you actually, and I don't know if this is what you were aiming at, but this is what I started thinking of from that. Have you thought about possibly turning them into almost like blog posts, where you do a blog post on the topic and like, I don't, you're the SEO specialist, not me, but I think it's something like you need like 1,200 words or something for it to be like ranked higher on Google. So you do your 1,200 word blog post and put the clubhouse link at the bottom. That way you get your SEO and you get the traction with the blog post, but in addition to that, you're also getting traction on the clubhouse link if people are willing and ready to listen.
Yeah, that's what I'm planning to do. I'm planning to create like a two-way street. So the two-way street is I'm gonna have a pillar post, and then I'm gonna have a cluster post or cluster post or cluster of posts. And I'm thinking that like the pillar post would be, let's say, we're getting to the end of September. So I'm actually planning to test this out for real, and you'll see it. And I'm really excited about it because I can put those links in there. So the plan is to, if I did the number of rooms this month alone, I think this month alone, it's not even the end of the month yet, but I think we've hit about 20 rooms, close to 20 rooms. I would say between 10 and 20 rooms because I'm also counting the scheduled ones. So by the end of the month, I would have about 20 rooms because if I was doing Monday through Friday, week over week, and maybe blending it with other months too, then I'll have one article that talks about all the links. So I'll literally say, like, this room is web pages versus social media pages versus landing pages. So that will be the title of the text. And then in that text, I'm going to hyperlink it and then put this link of this room so that whoever clicks on it can match what they're searching for. Because I also don't want to confuse them and say, oh, here's marketing club. And then I create other topics which are not matching and now they start bouncing. So I'd rather keep them within what they click through. And then when they see the same thing here, they're like, oh, okay, that's it. That's ethical marketing. Boom, right in there. And then if I want to extend it, I'll now say out of these 10 articles or out of these 10, topics, I'm going to create 10 individual pages to support this one pillar page. So each of them will now have their own individual pages, but they're all connecting you to the pillar page. So it's like you have different I would say different doors, but before you to open those doors, you gotta have the master key to open the front door or the back door. So that's how I'm thinking about it in that two-way street.
I'm excited to see how that works out for you. I think that's a way that people really haven't been using Clubhouse up to now, but they've been doing it with podcasts, I think, or with YouTube videos. So I think this will be really interesting to see how it works with Clubhouse.
Yeah, I think this is definitely the way it should be going because there's no other way. Honestly speaking, I don't see any other way you can repurpose content and keep content alive years from now just by posting it on a social media post. That social media page has a date stamp. It has a timestamp sometimes, right? And if there are comments, there are date stamps there. So if that date stamp says 2 years ago, 3 years ago, will that video reach the number of people that need to see it? Or would you rather take that post and put that Instagram reel, that YouTube short, that thread? Because now you can even embed on threads. And there's a reason why they allow it. And now you even have analytics on threads. So looking at those things tell you what you got to do with your polls, with your connections. And then all of a sudden, you start taking those pages, and those pages are now on your web page, right? They're on your web page. So when they're on your web page, they're on the World Wide Web. Social media is one link on the World Wide Web. So if we really look at the picture, the big picture, right? If you want to get on the web page, you got to be on the World Wide Web by having a domain with secured hosting that allows your pages to thrive and they're visible and they're indexable, right? So when you start to be on a web page and you're sending them to your social page, you're sending them to one link that leads them to a landing page. That's the difference between a web page, a social media page, and a landing page. Because when you land somewhere, you land on surface, right? But if you do it on a social page, you're landing in a community, right? Because a social media page will have likes, comments, reactions, swipes, everything is in there, right? A web page is not, you're not going to see likes and comments and, thumbs up. You're not going to see that on a web page. You might see that, but it's going to come in a different form, right? So the way to look at it is if you are thinking macro and you have, let's say, 50 posts on your Instagram, that means you've given Instagram 15 new pages that they didn't pay for, but you did with your time, that is not translated to your web page that someone can identify or see it individually if they're searching for one specific topic that relates to the context of the Instagram post that you published, right? So if you're not thinking in that capacity where you have a web page and this web page is actually giving you web traffic. I talked about a spider web. A spider web is not a spider web if it's not connected. So you have internal links, you have external links. Those links are talking to each other. They're saying, okay, if you want to learn more about this, click here for a related article. If you want to follow us on social media, click here to follow us on social media. So that social media link you're sending them to, LinkedIn, is big. Speaking of LinkedIn, today I was on this website called, I think it's called Influencer Marketing Hub. Let me see it right now. I actually still have it open. Yeah, Influencer Marketing Hub. Yeah, I have a photographic memory. That website, there's a person there. She pretty much has done about 200 and how many articles? She's written about 257 articles. So I saw her LinkedIn today because I was doing some research and I connected with her on LinkedIn. I said, how it says connect on LinkedIn. So I put a note. I said in the note, I found you when I was doing some research and I connected with you through Influencer Marketing Hub. It didn't take up to an hour. She accepted the request and connected, and we're now connecting because, that could be a guest post. It could be a post for a client. It could be anything, right? So from there, I've seen her webpage. Her webpage, I can't like anything. I can't subscribe. I can only view, right? I can leave a comment, but that comment is going to the contact team. So it's not really a comment. It's just additional information, right? So from her giving a webpage, her only social profile was her LinkedIn. That's why I said earlier, when you click on the link in the chat, that link will take you to the Instagram post that tells you what CEOs in 2024 are saying about social media and where you should focus on social media as a business. Because if you're paying people on Fiverr, if you're paying people abroad, if you're paying people even within the States, or if you have any kind of task force, right? And you're creating these things, what is your intention by doing social media for them when you don't have a web presence attached? It's a thing that I've really been cracking down because people are Giovanni's looking at me because you have to look at this thing as a business. Because when you look at your year over year, you're like, okay, I spent, let's say, $5,000 on social media marketing. What did that do? Did you make $5,000 back? Did you make 5,000 followers? Did get a client that paid you $5,000 for the post that you created? What did you really do with that social media marketing? Because I hear social media marketing and I cringe because if your social media marketing does not attach to a web page, then you're doing it wrong. Look at CNN, look at Bloomberg, look at TMZ, look at any news site. What you'll notice is they'll give you a snippet. Social media is for snippets. It's not for the full cake. If you want the full cake, come, let's eat at the table. Let's eat on the web page. On the social page, we're talking. we're having little bites here and there. Oh, this video, check this meme. Oh, gift that, comment here. That is social. It's instant gratification. It's quick, right? If you want to learn more details, here's a web page. If you even want to get deeper, get into the email. So from social media to website to email, that's where it should be going. You shouldn't stop at social media, because if I'm going to post 3 times a day, 3 times a week, yeah, I'm going to get all the likes, I'm going to get all the follows, but financially, business wise, have you made impact? Have you taken that same media file to another community? Are you just on Instagram, or are you on Instagram and LinkedIn? If you're on Instagram and LinkedIn, how is LinkedIn supporting your Instagram? Because people on LinkedIn are following you, they'll check your website, and then when they check your website, they'll check your social pages. If you have an Instagram, they'll follow you there. If you have a Pinterest, they'll follow you there. So your social media page is literally on a web page. Literally. If you have a website right now, go to your website, you will see social media icons there. That is a social media page that you click on. It's a link. The web page is like, it's like if you think about a house, right? The web page is the actual house. The social media are the rooms in the house, right? And then the landing pages are what you find in those rooms. So if this house is painted blue, her room is painted pink, this one is painted white, this one is painted green, this one has, sunroof coming in, this one has a balcony on the side, a patio on the center. Like you start to get into detail. Oh, this is where the cloaks are, this is where the kitchen is, this is where the island is. That's specificity into the detail. We all know it's a house, but the house has a different color scheme. It has a different color palette. It has a different mood. Maybe you walk into the house and you start hearing jazz music, right? Like anything can happen because it is an expression of an experience that you're giving your audience. So you can't just depend on Instagram and say, oh, I'm on Instagram today. Yeah, you're on Instagram today, but what if it shuts down tomorrow? Then what? Or it's down for maintenance for 24 hours. Are you still running your business? It's happened to so many people, but it's like it's weird. It's like driving with this service engine light on, saying that your car is, or it's driving when your tires is low. Like we can't do that, because when we stop, we're gonna stop for real. And then to get that back up, you have to do a lot more than you would have done if you just focused on looking at where it got to. Oh, it's halfway. Okay, let me fill it back up. Then waiting till it's E, and then struggling, to kind of find a way out. So it's that tension. If you want to release the tension, release the stress by giving people information they can digest, right? So these are things that you have to think about. Giovanni says a content-based business. Yeah, well, I would call it content marketing, because every business is doing that. It's either community news or a PSA or product news or tech news or general news or something news, right? It could even be just Christmas news. It could be literally holiday news based, right? But it's content, because that's what's going to allow you to connect to the people. If we like apple pies, if we like marshmallows, then that's something that we should be integrating, because that's what we love to do. If we like pop music and jazz music, then let's have some type of just have it there, because that alone will allow people to connect with you further. It's not about like, oh, you have 10% off every week. There's something that allows you to feel connected to that person, to the point where that 10% is not even a discussion anymore, because people want to pay full price. Like the story starts to change when the brand message is achieved, right? Austin is asking, a squeeze page is dead. Well, eh, I won't say they're dead. I would just say they're uh huh. They are, from what I see, I don't think squeeze pages are gonna be there in the next 10 years. That's my prediction. Because I feel like with squeeze pages, it's squeeze. Like, why am I squeezing you in the first place? Do you like to be squeezed? I mean, some people like to be squeezed. A big squeeze is
Sorry.
nice.
Um, this is a new term for me. What's a squeeze page?
Okay, so a squeeze page it's like, how do I describe this? It's like when you have you ever signed up for something, right? And let's say it's in an email, right? You're signing up for something, it's in an email, and this email is coming to you, and it's like, okay, this is something I need from you. So I need to pretty much, it's a landing page in itself, but it's a squeeze page because it's squeezing information out of you. In other words, you're kind of soliciting for email addresses from people who are actually prospects. So if I say I'm doing an AI workshop for real estate owners, right? This is my squeeze page that anyone who clicks on this is going to now give me that information, and then directly I can market back to them. So it's like another
Okay,
way.
so
Yeah,
it's like a form fill page.
exactly. Yeah, they just call it squeeze page
Okay.
informally. Exactly, right. Exactly. Giovanni says it's a funnel that gives you email addresses and trying to get you into up to off, into offers like a upsell or a downsell. So like that's why it's a squeeze page. That's why I was like, how much do you want to be squeezed? You want to be squeezed out of your pockets, or do you want to just squeeze a little bit of the toothpaste? So it's really up to you to know exactly what are you giving, how much information are you giving. And then when it starts to get really irritating is when like you have to hit on this page, you watch this, you do this, you click on this. Honestly, we're getting smarter. And then with AI now, this thing is going to be so like blockbuster to me, because I wouldn't really call it squeeze pages. It might have a different term name, because when I hear the word squeeze, I cringe, because it's like, you can't do that. All you can do is exit or be squeezed into a lead. Thanks, Professor Brad said. Yeah, exactly. It's not really it. And Giovanni, thanks for saying that too. You explain to people all the time that your page on Facebook is a subdomain attached to Facebook. So it's indexable and such. If you have a website, you should also be connected, especially with the pixel intact. Those are missed opportunities because people will see those pages. Even LinkedIn has an insight tag. Does your company page have an insight tag on your website? You're missing out on information. Pixels. Do you have a TikTok pixel on your website? If you have a business, do you have, like, Giovanni is saying, a meta pixel for your Instagram and your Facebook? When you start running ads, you'll know the value of these pixels when you start having costs that are lower than your average, because you're actually getting more with less because you're organically feeding and not paying to play. It's a different ball game, but it's also up to you. How long do you want to play this game? If you want to play for 20 years, for 10 years, if you want to play for decades, then think of every social media page you're on as an asset, because you're leveraging community. You're leveraging Facebook's community. You go into a Facebook group, whose community is that? Facebook's group. Even though you have a group on Facebook, who owns that group? Facebook does. You don't. Are you paying for the servers? Are you paying for the maintenance of the domain? Are you paying for the domain name servers? Are you paying for those codes? You're not. You're just using it for free. That's why even with Google Search Console, I got to learn that with Google Search Console, you only get 1,000 rows, and it's free. But why would I get 1,000 rows when Google has 92.8% market share? Probably it's even more than that. They're in the 90s. So why am I only getting 1,000 of my information, 1,000 rows? What if I have 1,000 pages? That's 1,000 by 1,000, but I only have 1,000 rows. So that's why there are websites like SEO Gets. I talked to the co-founder, and that's how I got to even know that this thing is a whole thing. I didn't know about that. Exactly. Google has costs. They're not going to give you for free. It's free Google Search Console, but you're being indexed, but you have to pay for some other things, automatically indexing your pages, making your site maps, connected, making them indexable, making sure that you're dispersing information in the ethical way. So many things to factor in. So SEO Gets gives you 50,000 rows, but you have to pay for that service, right? That's what he said. You have to pay for that service because he told me, and even put a masterclass. I'm going to have that podcast released soon. And he literally went through the whole masterclass of how to use the platform. He even told me that, hey, I checked on Google for SEO Gets, Google Search Console alternatives, and I saw your article. So I planned it. Literally. This is a CEO of a company. This is a co-founder of a company who doesn't even know me. But because he Google searched a topic and I found interest in it because I saw it on LinkedIn, and it was like a low hanging fruit. Nobody was talking about it on LinkedIn. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna pick this up and I'm gonna run to Google and see if it's actually something people are looking for. The co-founder found me. And then I'm like, okay, let's talk. Let's get on the podcast. Because that if you type in SEO gets, you won't get as much information because not many people know what that is in the first place, right? But I do. And now if I'm telling you that this is an alternative to what people are using, then that gets you more weight, that gets you more things out there, because people are going to look for this information. If they find yours valuable, you know, that's what happens. Yeah, he did get a Google alert. Yeah, you're right. He did get a Google alert because he's definitely, it's a new company. He doesn't know who's out there. So for me to put that on his radar, that's what we talked about yesterday with backlinks. I hope it's making sense because I feel like I'm in a this is a series. Like every episode or every, story, every room has a connecting factor to the previous one. Because if you think about writing for companies you want to work with, then these companies want to work with you too. So those are measures that you have to look into as a business to really get that final cut, if I could put it like that, no pun intended. If you want to get that, you have to really understand the logic behind what people are creating, why they're creating what they're creating, and then get to that result. Because once you understand the value of the analytics you're paying for, you can really understand it even further. Why can you understand it further? Because you're actually connecting those dots and you're building into the system. So this is what I wanted to say. And we've come to the top of the hour. I'm glad you guys learned something new. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I wanted to ask you, Empress, did you have anything you'd like to say? Anything you'd like to let people know? Just on this, when it comes to pages and the efficiency of these pages long term, because they are power pages, and also money pages too.
Yeah, I think making sure that your strategy is cohesive in terms of not just having a social media strategy, but connecting it back to your own website and how you have a full funnel approach is really important to ultimately how you get people through your funnel and paying you money. So um, take these strategies and work with them and see how you can tie the webs together and what type of thread you can turn into a blanket. I don't know. Sorry, I told you I was in a weird mood today.
I love that. No, you're right. Thread into a blanket. You can't get a blanket if you don't start threading. So you're right. you know, if you want to make a coat, if you want to have a woolen coat, then you have to use that wool, and you got to do something with it. If you want a house, you got to build it from scratch. You have to think about the foundation. When you're building a website, you have to think about the foundation. So these are all true things, but I just want to make you guys unlearn something, that social media is not your webpage. Social media is not your webpage. So if you go back to your Instagram business account and look at the number of pages you've built for that company, and you're like, oh, I have 100 posts, 200 posts, and calculate how many posts your website has. If it matches up, great. If it's greater than, great. If it's less than, wait, what's wrong? What's going on? How do we solve this problem? Because your competitors are writing on the web. Every post you see, you know what? Let me actually go there right now. Let me go to CNN because I really want to be very specific. So CNN has 17,000 posts. That means they have approximately 17,000 web pages. They have 17,000. This is equity, guys. We talk about business, finance, equity. This is credit. This is leverage. Social media, CNN has 17,000 social media posts or social media pages. That means they have 17,000 at the very least, because that's Instagram is not their only platform of information. They have way more than that, right? They've been there for years. Instagram showed up when? 2012. CNN has been there. So you can use that 17,000 as a yardstick, but it's a litmus test to tell you that they have at least 17,000 web pages that are leading them back to, it's like investment. When you make an investment and you have a 10% APY, 16% APY, 5% APY, 3%, 0.3%, what you're putting in is what you're going to get back. So if you put out all those posts on your social media and it's not matching up to your real estate because you're buying this domain, you're paying for it every year, you're maintaining it every year, but you forget to change the year date on the year of. We got to do something different. That's why I'm really on this, because if you can do it better than I can, I'm happy because I've learned something from you and I want to keep learning, right? The more you know, the more you don't know. Empress, back to you.
I I really like that. The more you know, the more you know you don't know. Um, the I think another thing that might be a good way to compare websites versus social media pages is your website is almost like your retail store. And I'm comparing it to things that are offline for reference, just for the sake of clarifying things. Your website's your retail store. Social media pages are the flyers that you send out to get people into your store. Um, so it's your flyers, your TV ads, your mailers, your radio shows, whatever it is. The social media is those advertising avenues to get people into your retail store. In which case would be a website. So that's, I mean, that's a way that I like to look at it.
That was spot on. Thank you. It makes sense. You have to build a house that someone can feel comfortable in. If someone's visiting your home, they're not living there, they're visiting. You know, websites have two types of visitors: new visitors and returning visitors. So if I'm returning, it means that my first experience was good. You know, you go to a church, you're a new visitor on the first weekend, you become a returning visitor on the second weekend, right? And then the next weekend, it's like that, like that, like that, right? So you become, the more you keep returning to the church, to the building, to the school, to the office, the more you keep returning as a visitor, the more you learn about where you visit, if that makes sense. So the more you visit where you visit, the more you learn about where you're visiting. It's nothing new. This is not new. This is it's been there, right? It's just the way it's contextualized. So if you can create content that allows people to connect with you contextually, then you don't have to worry about the likes and the follows and the engagement because you're resonating with the people who actually want to hear from you. That's just the meat and potatoes. So I think this is a great way, to keep this room at a high level so that you can also see where that takes you. So try these things out, you know. The more you try it, the better you get it at, you get at it, and then the more you're able to know what works for you and what doesn't work for you as well. So appreciate you. Alison says, amazing room, Fave. Love the topic and context from Empress, cheering everyone. Yes, this is a great, great room. So I've been doing this consistently and it's really paying off because people are learning, people are growing, people are really getting into things. And there's an app I'm using that's an AI tool that a company found me using. And now they're reaching out to me to ask about the AI tool. It's crazy, right? If y'all have heard of ideogram.ai, check it out. If you've never heard of it, check it out, right? I like to give you guys information. I don't like to gatekeep. I'll give you what is meant for you, but when it's time to pay for it, then you know what to pay for. Check out Ideogram AI. Even the thumbnail you see at the top here with the workshop, I created that image with AI using Ideogram. I had to create a prompt for it. Yeah, exactly. Use it for my thumbnails. Exactly. I use it for my podcast thumbnails. And my listenership has gone up per download because per episode because I'm putting AI images that are representing the text. So when someone's reading the title of the podcast episode, they're also looking at the AI image. And I've told them, transparently, disclaimer, it came from this platform. So I'm not making them guess. When you make your customers guess less, then you gain more. Less guessing, more gaining, knowledge gaining, power gaining, consumer behavior starts, habits start. Oh, we like Apple. That's why we're behaving like this because we want to go to the Apple store and get it, right? So that behavior is a character. I know you're more of Android, so you're just like favorite. Woohoo. But it's the thing, you have to think about the communities. Where do you hang out at? Where are your communities staying at? So there has to be those things they have to make sense. Empress, why you on me like this? You don't like Apple?
I hate Apple. I even have an Apple laptop from work, and my husband can vouch for the fact that I swear at that thing constantly.
Oh man, I know people are kind of anti-Apple. Some people are pro-Apple, but we gotta love them all. So I'm happy that we covered this topic today, and it's really really important to look at it and see where we're going and what we're doing with what we have. So um this was great. This was really really great. So if you want to learn more workshops, workshops made easy, click the link above, sign up so you can get exclusive updates. Choose the workshops that you want to be in. When you click the link, you will scroll down, and what you will see are 6 options you can pick from. These 6 options are SEO, podcasts, artificial intelligence, email marketing, Pinterest, or advertising. Right now, the ones that are in the lead are SEO, email marketing, and advertising is kind of hanging on a tail. But people want to learn about SEO and email marketing. So that tells me what people need more of. If you have an email list that is thriving, you won't have to worry about social media. You won't. There was a study that was done that they said 4 out of 5 marketers said that they would rather give up their social media than give up their contact list. I mean, that makes sense. If I take your phone right now and I take all your contact lists, but I leave you with your Instagram account, would you like that? I don't think so. Because you
But
invested
so
in.
here's my argument. Why not both?
I mean, you can have both. You can have both of them. You can have it if you want, right? But I think more people would value their contact list, because from social media, if I talk to you on social media, I know that from social media, I want to get your contact. I don't want to stay on social media talking to you when I want to meet you in person. I can call you on the phone. So that interaction is like social media is like an arm's length, and that contact is literally like a knock on the door. So you can have both, but if you're gathering both, then you have to gather from somewhere that leads to somewhere. That's the point. You don't want to have a list of contacts that are not connecting with you on social media, and you don't want to have a social media account that doesn't lead to contacts. It's like a broken bridge. So that's what I mean, Empress. But you can have both.
I was just bringing it back to Taco Tuesday with that old Del Paso commercial.
Taco Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Yeah, I love Taco Tuesdays, and that's the thing we've been having the community. You get an email on Tuesday because it's Taco Tuesday, just because it's great to enjoy and eat good food as well. So I thank you all so much for being here, Empress. I love that you were able to be here. It's been a while since you've been around, so thanks for being here. And for those who are here too, just to let you know, tomorrow, 8 a.m. tomorrow Central, we're having a room about LinkedIn company profiles, how to optimize pages for SEO. So I keep dropping little, clues here and there, because I want you to listen to the full thing and gather the concept. And if you use AI to literally scan through my podcasts, you will be so farther ahead, because you can literally go to YouTube, scan through the episodes, learn all those things. You don't have to listen to the whole replay, and just get the key take notes, get those key pointers as well. Those will help. September 26th, that is in 2 days. That's on Thursday. We're going to talk about our websites relevant for 2025. How do I secure my data or data? And then we're going to top it off on Friday with social marketing versus email marketing versus billboard marketing. Why are you laughing, Empress? You're laughing. You're being a little bit today. Empress, that's crazy. But you have to think about the timing of everything. What you're doing, where you're going, how you're connecting, who you're connecting with. That's why I did a schedule like this in advance, because I know that people want to plan. So when you hit on that button and you create it, the next thing you want to think about too is adding it to your calendar. For me, I add everything to my calendar. If it's not there, it doesn't exist. Not because I don't remember it, but I want to make sure it's part of my schedule. Like I want to make sure that I'm there as well. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So thank you so much for joining. And I really appreciate you, Empress, D, Giovanni, Skylar, Soda. Thanks again for being here. You're welcome, Maria, Jason, Bianca, and Pesman. You're all appreciated, and I can't wait to connect with you guys tomorrow morning. I'm gonna see you guys bright and early. Enjoy your Taco Tuesday, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow.